Drama, where you never been, I'm in. You want styling, you know it's time again. The enemy, telling you to hear it. They play my music, it's time to play.
Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, friends and enemies, to Hostages to Fight Back, live on New Orleans Talk Network, live streamed on YouTube, live streamed on Facebook. Go to New Orleans Talk Network on YouTube, and you can see our, well, Brother Mims is the pretty boy, so you can see his pretty face. You can see me too, and also on our Facebook page. We are going to be addressing any number of issues today. As you know, we had a political homicide attack launched against several Baton Rouge police officers. At present, 4 died, one of whom was black, incidentally, for black folks who are cheering the murder of policemen. And I'm going to let Brother Mims, who is a retired civil sheriff's deputy here in Orleans Parish, take the ball and give some insight. I'm confident that you have some firsthand feelings to share.
Well, I just want to say about human beings, it's amazing that I've had people give me Christians or people who say they're Christians who go into church and say that they're glad what happened. And people don't, when people stalk police officers and set them up or ambush them, that really was. It was almost like a custom last stand, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was. I wouldn't do that to my enemy. What I saw was, and the black officer who, his son made four months old Sunday. My heart goes out to him because, if that was targeted at the officers who had killed the young victim, I could say, well, I understand because they were angry, but to target, and if there had been 20 officers coming there, Cap, there'd have been about 15 dead and 5 injured. He wanted to kill as many officers as he could, and I'm gonna tell you something too. If that sniper officer, sharpshooter, hadn't shot him for almost 100 yards, he's still been shooting.
And that's the irony.
Yes,
we protest about militarized policing, but then it took a militarized officer to stop this massacre.
And isn't
that funny?
From human beings, I'm saying is what. And then I hear people cheering, people of color, cheering when what happened to the other officer in that was Kansas City. A
captain was killed in Kansas City.
They said it was a group of guys got out of the car and they ambushed him. So I wanted to say everybody's a victim there. A victim. I think that we need to come to the table. First of all, bring your personality. No, leave your personality at the door. Leave your titles at the door. We need to get past the anger, and then let's talk about the facts. And because everything that's happening in our community, it ain't racism. We got some problems with us. Let me say this to you. And we invite the audience to come and give first-time callers or those who listen religiously to question me. Question me. I'm saying call me because I have an issue with in my neighborhood, and I stay in Central City, a pretty predominant black neighborhood in New Orleans. And Cap, there were 5 funerals in my neighborhood, and 4 of them were killed by black men, and they had a second line. They came through my neighborhood was clean, but when they passed, they had beer bottles and wine coolers and trash, chicken boxes, and I don't understand, So you want to say what that's got to do with the police getting killed? Because we got some issues that I'm not clear on.
And I notice that whenever we start talking about the usism that you've made part of your platform, you get a lot of pushback. People are like, well, why you want to talk about that? We need to talk about what the police are doing.
We talking about fighting, Cap. They have people what I did this article for those who may not be. Yeah, would you tell them how to look online? And
sure. If you type in Brother Al Mims and then beside it NOLA.com, it'll take you to their Everyday Hero story that was done by Diana Samuels and done quite well.
And I found out that it was nominated by Captain Black. Now,
well, these things happen. See, I play the shadows.
Yes.
You never see me until it's too late.
Right. And I don't consider myself a hero, but I consider myself a servant. And I was speaking. That was about a month ago. We sat down about 4 hours. The lady came from Baton Rouge, and I wanted to let them know that what I've experienced as from a young man for the 3 decades, 30 years, and my experience. But what I've gotten some calls. The first 20 calls where people was telling me, damn, really by the action, damn the story, Al. What about the police? I said, well, it ain't about the police, because my dad and my brother and I and the threats and my house being shot up wasn't shot up by police. Now, what I'm saying to you is I'm not giving the police a pass like somebody say. I'm telling them that everything got to come at once. We got to bring everything together, because you saying it's okay for my child and he is at risk because they have people can verify, Captain Black will verify that I've had people that I've helped, and people of color, I got problems with them. So you saying is that it's okay when I disagree with you, or I've helped you, when I tell you the problem, or you selling drugs, or you doing some things that's unacceptable in my neighborhood, that's when the problem comes. I stop being Brother Mims, I start being a token and all this, and you want to kill me. And we talking about men of color, men who got age on them. Am I right or wrong, Cap?
Yeah, you got a lot of old heads with very, very, very immature and evil mindsets. We want to focus so much on what other people are doing that we refuse to admit that our children overwhelmingly are being killed by our children. Overwhelmingly, our women are being raped and beaten by other Black people. Doesn't mean if a white man or anybody wearing a badge violates the law that we're supposed to ignore that. But It's very strange that we ignore the number one daily
the elephant in the room.
Yeah, precisely the elephant in the room. The number one daily threat to our safety are rogue elements in the Black community. Now, if we take care of both, address both, protest both, then we can say we're dealing with the problem in its totality. But thus far, that's not happening. Well,
what I see, Cap, is that, and I'm gonna say it like it is. We want to deal with somebody else's problem, so we want to deal with us. And I'm so tired. And then, Cap, I can't even repeat some of the. I want to fight some people. And I told one lady, I said, "Ma'am, you lucky that I love the Lord, because if you was right here right now, I'll slap you, out of you. I don't like the way people can think they can say anything to you, anything." And I take it personal, because I'm talking about my experiences, Cap, what I've been through with us, so they want to dismiss us. Yeah, but they say, yeah, but what that means, Cap?
Yeah, but means what you said doesn't matter because I'm focused on blaming these white people. That's what it means, bro. I mean, we just got to be honest.
Yeah,
that's not knocking. Again, when one of us is legitimately wronged by the government in the form of the police, then yes, there should be action. But the legitimate wrong that's being done by members of the Black community to the Black community and other communities, we do not take to the streets about. We do not lobby. We do not fight. We do not take out our camera phones when brothers are about to fight and say, yo, if you put hands on this dude, we're going to document it. We're going to send it to the police and lock you up. Chill out. We don't do that. We only whip out the camera phones when we want to put the fight on World Star Hip Hop, or we only whip out the camera phones when there's a confrontation with a police officer and we want to try and incriminate the police officer. We can do more than one thing. You can, or at least I'll say this, some of you at least can walk and chew gum at the same time. So we can do more than just focus on police brutality to the exclusion of public brutality in the community, in the culture. We can do both. Two-front war. We can do both.
Now, I see you made some enemy because
I hope I did.
I said the same thing. We got a call. We
have
a
caller. Certainly.
Wow.
All right. We're going to slow it down for a second.
Yeah.
Welcome, caller, the hostages that fight back. I hope you have your rhetorical body armor on.
Yes, I do have my rhetorical body armor on. This is Big Boy Recite, host of Fanview on the New Orleans Thought Network. Man, what's popping, fellas? This is
What's
my
good
favorite
with
show
you,
on the
bro?
network.
How you doing, my brother? Good morning.
I'm cool. What's today's topic, man? What we talking about today?
Well, we're
Okay.
talking about the Baton Rouge shooting. We're talking about Black support of cop killing. We're talking about where does opposing the daily violence in the community fall when we're paying attention to what other people do to us. Basically, bro, we're talking about it all.
We talking about it all. All right, let me start with the first one. That's the shooting in Baton Rouge with the cops, right?
Right.
All right, man. First of all, let me say this. Like everybody has been, I know it sounds cliche, but it's real. Targeting police and an assassination attempts and all this, won't kill a police. It cannot be justified. It will not be justified, and we cannot tolerate that in this country. We are civilized people in this country. We're supposed to be civilized anyway.
Supposed to be anyway.
We're supposed to be civilized. So, with the police officers and that young man, his video being plastered all over the internet right now, and he talking about doing this and he talking about doing that to the police, and he did it. That's not American. That's not American to target these men and women and do that to them. But it's not American to do that to anybody in an attempt to kill somebody and target them. So it doesn't matter if you're a police officer or somebody that's on the streets trying to beg for nickels and dimes. It don't matter, bro. All lives matter. And I'm sorry to hear that happen to the police officers, but we can't tolerate that. But I will say this about the police department. The police department got a problem with coming out and saying that they were wrong for certain things, and I think that's raising a lot of tensions. I think that I know they're not going to do it, but I'm just saying they expect us to. We teach our kids to apologize when they did something wrong, and when you apologize and you say you're sorry, in my book, that means you're never going to do it again. So I feel like they don't have the intentions on apologizing and saying they're sorry because they can't. They can't say that they're never going to do that again. So, but I do think an apology is in order. And I did not hear that police department in Baton Rouge apologize for what happened. Not just saying taking fault for it, but just apologize and say, you know what, this could have been prevented. And, we apologize that it happened.
I
Didn't hear them say that.
I think that there's a multicultural citizen review board, and I'm not just well wishing. I truly, from my experience, and I've seen this over and over again. I think that board, that committee that they have, is going to make some things happen that should have happened years ago. I mean, this problem in Baton Rouge is not nothing new. It's been going on for quite a while, and it needed to be addressed. But I think sometimes good things can come from bad things. I think that people are going to look at, and I'm saying this, I'm not trying to give anybody undue credit, but I think that, and I said to people, let's, I know we say be patient, but I don't want people burning nobody's house down, killing nobody, because let me tell you what happens is, there's a lot of innocent people that get hurt, and everybody who says they for the cause, you ask them, they don't even know what the cause is all about. They just want to be what's the trouble at. And some of them come from other states, and they don't look like us. They want to start trouble. Am I right or wrong?
Otherwise known as outside agitators.
That's what's up, Captain Black and Brother Mims. Do y'all know what's the number one dangerous job in America?
Convenience store clerk or being a black man?
You too. And being a black man was a job we all would be pulling.
Yes, indeed.
Let me stop. But the number one dangerous job in the country is electricians. Okay. 15th is the police department. The number one dangerous job in the country is being an electrician or working around electricity.
Okay.
You're more likely to lose your life working for energy than working for the police department. So that statement that the police department is pounding into the public ears that this is a dangerous job, it's a dangerous job, it's a dangerous job. Electricians' jobs are more dangerous than y'all. I support the police department. Before I get off the police department, I just want to say this. And then I got to turn to my people next. The police department really needs to change their protocol on when it comes, because we are living in a different world where technology is taking over. And it seems like the police department hasn't really caught up with the technology. Black people have been saying for years and decades that they are killing us. And now we have, they justified that. We couldn't prove it. We couldn't prove it. Now we can literally prove that the police department is killing Black people in cold blood. And there's still an argument here from both sides that, especially the police department side, where these killings are being justified. If you die in a seatbelt and you don't have a gun in your hand and a police officer killed you, I feel like that police officer, and especially if there's video, that police officers need to be arrested and charged for murder and put in the back of a police car right there on the spot. And the only way they're going to be able to do that is they change the process of how they investigate these people when they're police officers.
Well, it's funny you mentioned.
It's far-fetched,
oh, no.
it makes sense.
Yeah. And
if
speaking
you have
of changing,
video of a police officer killing someone in cold blood, you know what? We're going to sort this out later. But as of right now, you are being placed under arrest. Give me your badge, give me your gun, put your arms behind your back and get in this car. You will be booked and processed for murder.
And that's why you have
all out.
Yeah, and that's why you have independent police monitors office, police auditors, citizen review boards.
The police department must start arresting their own.
Understood.
Right then and there on the spot. Because if you listen to what Black people are screaming, they're not listening to us. We want justice. That is justice.
And it's just us. It's just us now.
Arrested. And that is justice. That's all we've been screaming for decades now. We want some type of justice.
And they feel right.
Arrested. There's no investigation. We're not waiting for the investigations. We're not waiting for none of this. You are under arrest. Black, white, green, purple, Chinese. If you're a police officer, you need to understand that you could be arrested right there on the scene and charged with murder if you shoot somebody, especially in cold blood. If they had no gun in their hand, most likely you will be arrested. And I can almost guarantee you police officers are going to think twice before they pull those guns out. That's my comments towards the police department. We can move on to something else, or y'all guys can elaborate. I'm willing to listen.
All right, good deal.
No, I don't have any. I'm saying is what you're saying is that the public, the people who look like me, were saying that it's just us, not no just us, but just us. I can appreciate that. I understand. And
moving on to our people. That's why I appreciate this show, because y'all don't deviate from the real issue here. The bigger elephant in the room, more bigger than the police department, is the Black community.
Precisely.
The Black community is in turmoil right now. We have officially so-called been considered to be equal for about 55 years now. And we still haven't gotten this pact. What Martin Luther King used to preach about economics in this country, the Jews have mastered. And we haven't really got grasp of what it really means to be a part of the economics in this country. We are consumers, and we do not save our money.
Our dollars stay in our community for one hour. Our dollars, I mean, when you speak about, because we talk about, Cap always talk about economic empowerment. We and let me tell you something, bro. And I pardon me for interrupting you, but that's personal to me. That's the usism problem, that we don't look out for one another. Not everybody. We don't support one another. Not everybody. We don't like one another. Not everybody. We want to quick to say when we disagree, I don't like him. Why? Because he disagree. Why would you do that? Why you kill your brother? It's okay to disagree, because this is the United States. This is America. We can disagree. We can disagree with our country, but you don't kill your brother because he disagree with you. That's what I'm saying. And I always say that this is going to be my motto. My motto. the people that hate me, I've helped them. And they hate me now because I tell them they're the problem. And they don't want to hear that.
They don't. And I know this may be sensitive to a lot of people's ears, but
I don't care.
It's my opinion, and my opinion may not be a fact. But it started when they took the black man out of the home and left the black woman to raise the youth. And when that happened, our youth went crazy. And we had generation, as I'm just talking about in the New Orleans and Jefferson Parish area where I grew up at, my peers are more likely to kill me than any cop, any other white person, any electrical pole out here. I'm more likely to be killed by a black man than anybody. And that is the real issue here.
Caller, that's what I say to my people all the time. Just let me tell you something. My son is more likely to be killed by somebody that doesn't like me. I mean, when I disagree with you, and we have a right to disagree, but you take it to the personal level that I'll kill your son, I'll kill your wife, I'll kill your grandchildren. Say, man, what is that? What kind of madness is that? We live in America, not communism.
The man back in the house, bro. We really do need the man. Brother Mims, I'm assuming you raised your son with your wife.
Yes.
And your son is a good young man.
Yes.
And I don't have to worry about your son if I'm walking past him down a dark alley at night.
No, he's not in that. No, look, bro. I did some work in my neighborhood. They had a dark spot across the street from my house, and I cut the leaves and everything. The grass. It's a perfect place for an ambush for a sniper. I went in day before yesterday on a Sunday. Got up at 5:30 in the morning and took my snippers, my clippers, and for the grass and for the weed and everything. And I made sure that that area was taken out of the equation. What I'm saying is, but listen to me. I stay in a neighborhood of majority homeowners, and if they listen, I'm not gonna say your names, but I got some problem with us. You know, when people, if it's not on their property, they're not gonna pick it up. The catch basins. That's where the drainage, where the water goes out when it rains. They got trash in them. I pick it up. I pick it up all the time. My wife tell you, if I worked for the city, if I worked and was to give the city a bill, I'd be rich, man. But my people, if it ain't on their property, and then sometimes it's on their property and they don't pick it up, they kick it down to my property. I'm telling you, man, if I wanted to start a fight, say, bro, I have video. I got cameras around my house, crime cameras, and the crime cameras show you crime. The other day, Sunday, I got some signs. No child should be shot. Don't stop the shooting. I want to live to grow up. These are signs from ceasefire and peacekeepers, and I got them in my area, empty lot, and I got a video of the video showing that these are men over 50 that's pulling my signs up and throwing them away, tearing them up. Now, I got a bunch of more signs, but I shouldn't have to do that. Now, you know, that's a personal item. You don't like Brother Mims, and I must be saying something that's getting next to you, because you're not doing nothing but what are you contributing to? What are you showing in my community? You don't cut no grass. And we talking about grown men, and I saw them. But you know what? I didn't say nothing to them, because you want to start a killing, because I got a short fuse myself. It ain't for me to say nothing to them, bro, because you want to get some problems, just tell somebody they're wrong. That's where the problem come in, my brother. That's all. I'm 62 years old. We talking about men over 50 and if they don't like you, ain't nothing gonna make them like you, bro. And what our children are learning, that they be around their grown-ups, their uncles and their fathers and their dads and things. Yeah, we can bring the father back in the house, but he got to come back right too. You know, we can't. You can't come back and bring your problems into the community, because some of these households are better off without the dad, bro. Because dad ain't did nothing right neither. Because I know about that. I know that some dads, bro, they don't. I asked a group that I addressed at a graduation Friday. Dads, have you hugged your sons lately? And nobody hand came up. I was talking to the crowd about 200 parents, grandparents, uncles, and things. And man, you thought we was at a strip club. Some of the women, you know, what happened to the
strip club?
Yeah, they was. Hey man, I saw booty, I saw breasts.
You can say that on the air.
Yeah.
Booty and breasts. Okay.
Can I say that, bro?
This is a G-rated family show and family network.
Huh?
I missed it.
I was at a graduation Friday. I was a guest speaker, and they had women who were mothers and grandmothers and aunties and godmothers. They had more breasts and booty and cracks hanging out. See, bro,
not cracks.
The club, yeah, you know.
Hey, man, I missed all that.
Yeah.
I'm just playing.
Look, the club's got a dress code, but we go anywhere, any kind of way. It seemed, bro, they had some ladies there. I was embarrassed for them. They were fine. Some of them was beautiful, but they didn't have to dress like that. The attention was off the children and was on them. And some of those women, they wanted to be validated. You know, I gotta go make my attention, and you know, I want somebody to see me. And bro, there's a lot of problems. You could smell the alcohol, you could smell the marijuana, you could smell the wine coolers. What are the children? And the children, they were 4 years old. They were well spoken. They listened. And I said to myself, the Bible says sometimes the children are gonna leave, and it's real. So what I'm saying is, bro, I love my people, bro. Ain't no way in the world. Hey, bro, I'm black, and I love my people. We got a great heritage, but there's some things that trouble me, man. That trouble me, bro. That trouble me. That really, I'm gonna say it again. That trouble me. So we can do better. And those brothers who want to complain about what's happening, we got to change. We got to do something. As I said many times, Muhammad Ali told me, when you done all you can do some more.
Yes, sir. And I totally agree with that. And, you know, again, let me ask you this question, Brother Mims. What neighborhood was that in when you went to this celebration for the children?
Central City.
And Central City. And was it a predominantly black event?
Am I black?
No, was that an event that you attended? Was it majority black?
Am I black?
Yeah, you are black, my brother.
Okay, that was a predominantly black. And everything was well. I was talking on a microphone, and I couldn't, and I had to tell the people because they settled down because they couldn't hear me.
And just imagine if you take this type of rebellious attitude and put it at a traffic stop, how's that going to turn out?
Yes, I mean, that the moral compass in the black community is going 360 in reverse and counterclockwise. Because it is no direction when it comes to morals in the poor black community. I mean, every black community in this country, if you consider it to be a black community, is automatically assumed to be a poor community. And in most cases of the time, that's the case. It's a poor community if it's a black community. But that doesn't give us the excuse to have poor morals when it comes to everyday living. And that's what black people that's what black people need to take a step back and ask themselves. And we are going to be up under the Hispanics in this community.
Oh yeah.
Very, very soon.
Quickly.
I'm gonna tell you why.
We heading in that direction now.
We would say it's already happened, or at least I would.
It's happening right before our eyes. They don't mind going to Walmart and shop for their kids' clothes. I'm just making an example. They don't mind saving money when it comes to those children and the clothes they wear. Us as a people, we got to put ours in Polo, Jordans, just to validate that.
Oh man, you done made somebody mad now.
And that's pathetic. I mean, I live in an area where it's HUD. I see more kids wearing Jordans and Polos without having a haircut than anything. Your mama riding around in a 1997 Honda Civic. All the lights don't work on her car. She got a cracked windshield, but you got on Polo and Jordans on a 4-year-old. You went out there and spent $150 on an outfit, and your windshield is cracked.
Yes, indeed. And then listen to me. I have a neighbor son, and I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to never say their name, but they know who they are. He 26 years old, got a 9th grade education, been in jail and thing. He get a check, and he ain't crazy, but and his daughter get a check. He tells his mother, "Don't buy my daughter no cheap stuff." Now, how you like that? Now I'm gonna tell you something. His daughter don't wear nothing from a Payless or anything. Let me tell you something. My son 21 years old, and I'm gonna tell you something, bro. I think I wear Payless. I wear stuff that's marked down. I'm a bargain hound.
I tell you what, let's hold that thought. We've got to go to a break. Save your money and tune back in, and we'll be right back here on New Orleans Talk Network. As always, we are the hostages that fight back.
Nobody gives you better conversation about your quality of life.
Let everyone know you listen to
The New Orleans Talk Network.
Happy Merry Mondays. It's your girl, Mary J. I want you to tune in with me to Real Talk with Mary J on New Orleans Talk Network every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Then follow me to blogtalkradio.com/Real Talk with Mary J at 10 p.m. It's going to be a Merry Monday every Monday at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. You've just tuned in to New Orleans Talk Network.
There are moments in life when we hesitate. Buying a home shouldn't be one. Markets are changing and interest rates are still low. Now is the time to make your move. At Rocksteady Realty, we are determined to find a home for you. We know the area, provide personal attention, and more convenience. For all your residential and commercial needs, contact Willie Jones at Rocksteady Realty at 504-460-3819. Discover the Rocksteady difference.
Listen up. Your customers, our listeners, could be hearing about your business right now. Yeah, right now. Don't miss out on the opportunity to advertise with NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. Call our business department today at 504-475-4793 to hear about our great rates. NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. We provide the people, you provide the business.
This is Tanya Free. The Virginia Fraternal Order of Police is pushing to arm officers with military-style equipment as a matter of officer safety. The Fraternal Order is asking Congress and President Obama to lift the ban of military equipment to local police departments. What's your take? Do you support the militarization of local police departments around the country?
Join Tanya Free and friends at TanyaFree.com. On air, online, and on point.
The New Orleans Talk Network and the Church Without Walls Foundation presents
An All-White Affair on Saturday, July the 30th, 2016, time 6 p.m. until. The location is 7601 West Bank Expressway in Marrero. Tickets are only $25. There will be music by Norris Byers. There will be a talent showcase. And guess what? We'll even have food for you to eat. Again, this event is on Saturday, July the 30th, 2016, time 6 p.m. until. Hope to see you there.
I'm Reverend D. Dunn, and I'll be there.
I'm Gail Scott Gillespie, and I'll be there.
Charles Stewart, and don't you dare miss it.
Back, Unpopular the man.
Are y'all ready for this tea? The New Orleans Talk Network has all the behind-the-scenes info, gossip, and happenings in the world of Hollywood. You gotta tune in to Dishing with Christian on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on the NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com.
I got all sides in my bag swag. Hi, I'm Linda Lewis, Director of Armstrong Family Services. I'm here to remind you that anyone can become homeless, even you. Armstrong Family Services is a nonprofit organization that serves families in crisis. We focus on keeping homeless families together. Post-Katrina, we have helped over 1,000 families. Now we need your help. For more information, please call 504-899-2995. Thank you!
Bethesda House of Prayer. Bethesda is a church for non-traditional worshipers, a church designed for those who love God's word. Would you like to attend a church where believers and non-believers can choose to worship together? A church where cultural differences does not get in the way of God's message. We invite you to be our special guest. Our services begin 9 a.m. on Sunday, located at 7601 West Bank Expressway, Suite B, Marrero, Louisiana. For more information, contact us at 504-348-0132.
Are you looking for an alternative to conservative? Real Brother Radio is now on New Orleans Talk Network every day, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. New Orleans Talk Network. We provide the topics, you provide the conversation.
The New Orleans Talk Network has added hundreds of listeners to our email database. But we don't have you. Make sure that you are in the know by sending us your email address. Go to the NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com and send us your email contact so that we can send you action matters, community events, show topics, and a whole lot more. Go to the contact page and email us today your address. That's NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. Go to the contact page, send us that email address today.
Nobody gives you better conversation about your quality of life.
Let everyone know you listen to
The New Orleans Talk Network.
Brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to. Yes. The rhythm, the rebel, without a pause, I'm low in my level.
Welcome back, listeners, friends, and enemies to Hostages to Fight Back. As always, I am Captain Black.
And I'm Brother Mims.
And we are talking about the Baton Rouge shooter, support for cop killers, black on black crime, usism, you name it, we're talking about it. And you can see it live on New Orleans Talk Network on YouTube and also on Facebook. We just had a caller who covered a pretty broad range of topics with us. And my concern is, and I posted this on Twitter not too long ago. It's interesting that we have some black men who go out and shoot policemen, but while you're planning and plotting on policemen, you are leaving individual thugs and street gangs who murder and terrorize black people on a daily basis. Now, I'm not trying to say I support vigilantism. I'm gonna pause for a second, but I am saying that it's interesting, the choice of targets. Again, you've got street gangs and individual bad actors terrorizing black people on a daily basis, but our self-styled Avengers, to date at least, ignore them to go after policemen.
Hello?
Can I be? Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm still here. Captain Black?
Yes.
110%. I so agree with what you just said. You disregard the others, deal with one specific group. When the real people terrorizing the community, you need to be the ones being targeted. I don't condone it neither, but if you're going to go out there on that limb and do that, go shoot a drug dealer, go shoot people who are in the community terrorizing the community. Go kill them.
Some of them are family members
trying to protect the community.
Yeah, because my question I just posted on Facebook, and for any of my Facebook friends listening, I will read your comment on air and also on Twitter. But the question was, do you feel crime or cops are the #1 threat to the black community? Because now from a lot of the headlines the past 2 weeks, and when Alton Sterling was shot, and then the other gentleman who was shot afterward, a lot of people feel like, well, no, The number one threat is policemen shooting us. And, you know, the numbers just don't bear that out. I mean, when is the last time you've heard of your local police department doing a drive-by shooting and killing a 3-year-old, for instance, or shooting at a graduation party? When's the last time you heard that? Or
I never heard that personally as an individual.
Or shooting in a nightclub. 2 policemen get in an argument and they shoot at each other and accidentally hit somebody. I mean, when have you ever heard that?
What about the Chicago? They're during the 4th of July holiday. It was 70 people shot during from that Friday to that 4th of July, and they were the overwhelming majority looked like us, and it was a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old was shot in the leg. What I'm saying is, I'm not diminishing anything about the police, but we gotta bring it all together. We gotta deal with that elephant. And,
you know, there's a lady who's written a book. Her name is Heather McDonald, and she's a scholar at the Manhattan Institute. And she wrote a book called The War on Cops. And she said something on a radio show recently that I've been saying. When we look at a lot of our advocates, when we look at a lot of our, quote, spokespeople who talk about police brutality, we have to understand 2 things. Now, you got 2 basic groups of folks. Now, I'm going to be nice and start with this group. These are people who are not criminals. They're not engaged in any type of negative activity, and they have either personally experienced or seen in their community instances where they feel that the police were mischaracterizing them and harassing them. So you've got that group, law-abiding, but feel that there's an issue between between police and the black community. Then you have career criminals, cats who have no reason to like the police because the police are the ones locking them up as they try to perform felonious acts in commission of a felonious lifestyle. So I think we need to be really honest about some of the people, at least, not all of them, but some of the people who are making the complaints about the police. Because again, if you're a felon and you still want to live a felon lifestyle, you have every reason to drum up political pressure against the police, because that gets them off of your back so you can do what you want to do. And what you want to do makes life unlivable for other black people.
And also to piggyback on that, if you want to check the statistics, crime has not stopped. The criminals are they're in solidarity. They're robbing, they're stealing, and they're killing. So what is going on?
I have no idea what happened to the black community to bring us to this point. We could go back into history and start there and try to figure it out. But I'm going to just say this right here. Then I got to get off the phone with you guys. And I really appreciate y'all taking out the time to speak with me and enlighten me a lot about these things. But, you know, just getting off the police officers for a second, our black men in the black community really need to step it up and take the community back.
Yes.
In a positive way. We are the bears and the lions and tigers in that jungle. And if we decide to attack our own kind constantly, then the jungle is going to continue to be in turmoil. But if we stop hunting each other and start hunting the proper prey, then we're going to be all right. It's going to balance itself out. But let me say this, and then I got to go. I remember this movie. I watched this movie as a child, and I'm going to say this. Black men, you're sitting at the dinner table, and you're acting like a goddamn waiter. That's my time.
Wow.
I got to go.
Wow. All right.
I love y'all, brothers. I'll see y'all later.
And hopefully we can bleep that out. Thank you very much, caller. Wow. I mean, again, everybody takes charge in their communities except us. We will ignore 1,000 black thugs just to protest one policeman. I mean, I want you to picture this. As you're marching, you're getting your march together in the hood. Y'all going to go protest the latest police officer. You're walking by the drug dealers on your corner. You're walking by the stick-up man who might visit you after the protest.
Don't forget about the burglar.
Yeah, might see you on TV. And now don't do an interview at your house, because if you do an interview inside your house, the burglar is watching on TV saying, that black got some good stuff. I got to go crawl in through his window and steal some of this stuff. This is our reality. So don't think that the threat is only from the district or the precinct. It's also from the neighborhood and in some cases, the family. We must be very honest about this because the lives that we save will be our own.
And I want to say, take this time to say thank you for those faithful few who do step up. And I'll say I'm in one of that number because you get ostracized by the people that you help. Did I say anything wrong, Cap?
No, you didn't. I just would add that I think as we look at community in the 21st century, we need to be very honest that skin color means nothing and that your culture and your character are all important. If your culture is respecting yourself, respecting others, being productive, being decent,
and demand respect from others.
Yeah,
too.
and not being loud and vulgar, then we share the same culture. Right. If your culture is that you support loudness, vulgarity, crime, and blaming the police and exalting felons at every turn, then no, you and I are not brothers or sisters. We are not family. We are not anything but enemies, quite frankly. And we need to be very honest. You can't embrace a rattlesnake and then get surprised when he bites you.
You made that very clear. Like the individual said one time about this story. I was a snake when you embraced me.
Precisely.
So I just want to say that there are people, women and men and children, who are doing some great things, but they need help, and they feel like they're by themselves. That what's the use? I would say to them, don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. And I'm gonna say it one more time, don't give up. You're not alone, range. You're not by yourself, because and I want to say to Captain Black, I want to thank him for stepping up and helping me in my community, because there are very few men. They know who they are. I don't have to say the names that are there to help me, that look like me, but Captain Black come in my neighborhood, and if I say anything wrong, or did I ever lie to you, bro?
Nope.
When I tell you the situation,
all that you said, I have seen for myself.
We some things that I've had the problem with. I took it to court to do it the right way, Cap, and that even went south.
Yes, it did. Again,
and we're going to talk to Susan Hutson, independent police monitor, about that. I think that I'm a doer. When you got somebody to help you, like a Captain Black and my family, I brought my family in, and I want to teach my son by example that take the law into your own hand. But some of that went south. But we're gonna
yes, it did. See, the double whammy, like I always warn people, when you are an urban stakeholder, when you're out here trying to move things forward that haven't moved in a very long time, you realize that you're going to face pushback from, as Brother Mims calls them, the bad guys in your neighborhood, terrorizing and destroying your community on one hand. And then you're going to face pushback from politicians, appointees, judges, sometimes even police district commanders, who really feel that because of your zip code and your skin tone, you're not supposed to complain about your miserable situation. You're supposed to shut up, be quiet, accept it. And if you're really good, you can stand behind them in the press conference and smile like you're a potted plant.
Yeah. And that don't sit well with us. Am I right or wrong, bro?
Absolutely, it does not sit well.
You've seen some things that you speak about. We live this. This is not no fairy tale. We're not making this up, and we're not doing no movie. We're not saying cut. We're not editoring this. This is raw. This is real. And this ain't no make believe.
It's live and direct.
It's live and direct. So I want to say to those who unsung heroes, women and men and children, who fighting the good fight, and you're about to give up, don't do it. Don't do it. You got to this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's going to be all right. Just stay your course. Now, you have to separate yourself from some people. I've been called everything from A to Z. Have I kept?
Yes, you have.
And that's by some of the people that I've helped. And I want to tell you something. That's my cross.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I have to tell them that sometimes, and I'm talking about family members too. They're some of the worst too, because you can't pick your family.
But that's why I always tell you. That's why I always implore to you. Don't internalize it.
Yes.
We live
Always.
in a very negative community. I don't care if anybody doesn't like it. And the negativism eats at people and wears them down until they won't speak out. You got a lot of retired activists in the black community because they have been worn down not by white people, but by the Negro.
Yes.
Who will always greet every good thing you do with a steady stream of bad responses, bad comments, and bad situations. This is his duty. He is of no benefit to himself or anybody else. If we're not honest about that, we can chase behind policemen who may or may not have done wrong to us till the cows come home, and the Negro hiding in our culture, sometimes in our neighborhoods, often even in our families, is right there undermining every good thing we're trying to do. And you can't succeed when you have a fifth column like that, destroying all that you're trying to build as quickly as they can.
And I would say to the public, those who are struggling and thinking that they by themselves, you just got to line yourself up. Sometimes they're not the person in your neighborhood. You're someone that's maybe in another neighborhood that you can confide in. Because I'm just going to give Cam Black, Cam Black don't live in my neighborhood, but he comes in my neighborhood and he encouraged me, and I let him see, and I talk to him and give him a description, and I make sure that he understands what's going. He's welcome at my home, and you only come to my house if you are on the right side. Criminals are not welcome in my house, and he sees this, and he don't see this with no glasses, with no sunglasses. He see it with the naked eye, and there's a lot of things that go on in our community. It just shouldn't be happening. I hear the children, they cuss like sailors. They don't speak to you, not because they don't want to speak, because their parents have told them not to speak. Oh, don't speak to Mr. Mims. He ain't no good. And we talk, we say anything in front of our children, around our children. Sometimes we talk about our children. I've seen parents come down the street beating their children and call them everything from child of God. And, words can hurt. Or words can be destructive. And what you say from your mouth can come back to haunt you, because sorry is a sorry word, huh, Cap? I hear parents say they keep telling their kid, I'm sorry, but they keep doing this consistently. And this child has low self-esteem. They have no get up and go. They went up and got up and went. What are we saying is, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a prophet, but I'm at the finish line. And if this situation keeps going the way it is in our community, I'm pretty much know how we're gonna finish out.
Oh yes, and it ain't gonna be pretty.
No, and if I could get those lottery numbers like that, I'll be rich, bro.
Because what I want you to realize is people like Brother Mims, true believers, big hearts, caring hearts.
Love my people, man.
Yeah.
They're not right, though, Cap.
Yep, y'all would want to listen to them, because if the mantle gets turned over to me, it's Batman versus Superman, it's Dawn of the Dead, it's World War Z, it's going to be snap, crackle, and pop. And I ain't talking about cereal.
Okay. And really, you want to be honest with you, that's the other side of the coin, what Cap is talking about. He's saying that, you can do it the right way or you can do it the wrong way. You know what? I think that the right way is worth doing it. You cannot put a price tag on being right. You have a word and you have history. It is easier to do right to me than wrong. And I see the brothers out here, talking and saying all the things that they say in around people, anything. They don't speak to you. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Please and thank you. You want to call me bruh, and I call all y'all this. Yeah, all that. I see, and I'm talking about some big kids. I mean, it was a kid last week, Cap. He's about 15 years old. He's about 6'7".
All right.
And he got basketball skills. I said, bro, you ever thought about playing basketball? Now, he got good skills, but he's saying, no, I want to be my boys. Now, I'm going to tell you what the deal is. The boys really ain't going nowhere, Cap. I'm telling you, they ain't, not because I'm putting bad mouth on them, but they have shown me by their actions that they're not going nowhere. And guess what? If he keep messing with them, he ain't gonna be going nowhere neither. But misery likes company. Can I quote you?
Misery likes to have a slumber party and have as many people zipped up in the sleeping bag with it as possible.
Okay. And this,
so yes, that's a short answer.
Yeah. And I just talked to the young brother and just tell him, say, man, you got to learn to say no. And you got to find out who your friends are. It's not for me to tell you, but you need to start thinking, because see, there are consequences that there's action, there are certain consequences. And once you talking about you ain't gonna rat on your boy. I used to see it all the time. They're young brothers. If you're gonna do something, do it by yourself. There's 4 guys that robbed a man, robbed a store, and they put them in separate rooms, each one of them. And the guy tells them, bro, whoever give me the information first, get the deal.
You ever seen First 48? You ever seen how fast those brothers start singing?
Yes, indeed.
Singing like the Jackson 5?
They're like, whoop, 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 whoop. But so what I'm saying is to young people, y'all be talking about y'all don't rat, y'all don't squeal on another one. That's a lie. That's a lie. There's a lot of rats that say it themselves. So with all that said, I'm going to give it to Cap to close out.
Sure. This has been the first hour of Hostages That Fight Back here on New Orleans Talk Network. We hope you've enjoyed listening, and we also hope you've enjoyed watching. We will be back after some commercial breaks with New Orleans Independent Police Monitor Susan Hutson.
I'm low in my level. The hard drama where you never been. I'm in. You want styling. It's time again. The enemy. Telling you they hear it. They play
back. How popular the man.
Are y'all ready for this tea? The New Orleans Talk Network has all the behind-the-scenes info, gossip, and happenings in the world of Hollywood. You gotta tune in to Dishing with Christian on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on the NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com.
I got all sides in my bag swag.
This is Tanya Free. We started this week, as we have so many times, talking about violence with the loss of 3 more police officers, this time in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. While we continue to experience violence and chaos here and around the world, the Republican National Convention kicks off in Cleveland, Ohio, an open carry firearm state. The party that stands against gun control now seems to want to suspend the open carry law during the convention. Really? These stories and more this Wednesday on the Tanya Free and Friends Talk Show, 2 p.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. Central.
Join Tanya Free and Friends at TanyaFree.com. On air, online, and on point.
You wanted that phone, and the answer was no. You needed that car, and the answer was still no. Your family liked that apartment, but they said no again. They even turned you down for the job you were qualified for, all based on a bad credit report. Your credit can be restored. Call Bethesda Community Development Corporation at 504-348-0132. Don't allow a bad credit report to hold you back any longer. Call BCDC at 504-348-0132.
The New Orleans Talk Network and the Church Without Walls Foundation presents
An All-White Affair on Saturday, July the 30th, 2016. Time 6 p.m. until. The location is 7601 West Bank Expressway in Marrero. Tickets are only $25. There will be music by Norris Byers. There will be a talent showcase. And guess what? We'll even have food for you to eat. Again, this event is on Saturday, July the 30th, 2016. Time 6 p.m. until. Hope to see you there.
I'm Reverend D. Dunn, and I'll be there.
I'm Gail Scott Gillespie, and I'll be there.
Charles Stewart, and don't you dare miss it.
What's up, New Orleans? Listen, this your man Fred, host of your #1 sports talk show down here in New Orleans. Yeah, I said it. FanView, where real fans talk about real sport. Join me, Bank Ball Recite, your people's man B, and Madman the Big Fan, as we talk about all the latest sports topic going down here around the country. Again, FanView, where real fans talk about real sports.
Crown Properties Incorporated, development and property management specialists, specializing in commercial and residential properties. With over 20 years experience, we specialize in property management, tenant placement, rent collection. We also manage single group housing. We have a full-time maintenance staff, 24-hour emergency on-call services, and we're fully licensed and insured. Let us do all the work while you receive the monthly checks at Crown Properties Incorporated. For more information, call 504-366-4001. That number again is 504-366-4001. Or come visit us at 405 Gretna Boulevard, Suite 109, Gretna, Louisiana. Crown Properties Incorporated, for all your property management needs. You be the investor, we'll be the landlord. Crown Properties Incorporated.
Are you looking for an alternative to conservative? Real Brother Radio is now on New Orleans Talk Network every day, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. New Orleans Talk Network. We provide the topics, you provide the conversation.
What is New Orleans Talk Network? It's today's hottest topics with an added flair. You get ready because the conversation will be hot and better yet, mobile. Download the New Orleans Talk Network app available on Android, iPhone, iPad, and you can listen to us on the web at www.neworleanstalknetwork.com. Write down our talk line at 504-341-TALK. That's 504-341-8255. Interactive and worldwide. That's what we are. Join in on the real conversation and tell a friend about the New Orleans Talk Network.
Nobody gives you better conversation about your quality of life.
Let everyone know you listen to
The New Orleans Talk Network.
Brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to. Yes, the rhythm, the rebel, without a pause, I'm low in my level. The hard
Welcome back,
where you never been,
friends and enemies.
You know it's time
The hostages that fight back here on New Orleans Talk Network. You can tune in, obviously, online and listen to us live. You can also look at the live stream, New Orleans Talk Network, on YouTube, and you can also tune in to us on Facebook. Before I introduce our guest, I have a comment from one of my Twitter followers who said, and I quote, "Those who support mass murder of our police are traitors to our country, and instead of coddling them, scare their saggy pants off them." Now, I agree with that statement. I know some people might not, but hey, that's what makes life interesting, isn't it? All these differences of opinion. Let me go ahead and introduce to all and announce to some. New Orleans Independent Police Monitor, Susan Hutson, a friend of the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Cap. How are you and Brother Al?
Good morning. Pretty good, pretty good. As you know, we've been discussing what I consider to be the urban apocalypse, which has kind of picked up some momentum, sadly, of late. But as a solution, and we've offered this on other media, and this is what you'll be addressing, we think that people really need to double down on supporting independent police monitors like yourself, police auditors, community review boards, and similar organizations. And the floor is now yours.
Oh, thank you much. As you know, I'm definitely agreeing with that. One of the things that the police oversight can do, whatever form is picked, one thing that we can do is actually have access to a lot of information. So that's information that's critical to be transmitted to the public so they know what's going on with their police department, whichever side they come down on. Just having more information about what goes on. That's some of the things we're doing right here in New Orleans. We were the first ones to start publishing information about officer-involved shootings and in custody deaths and information like that, complaints, because the police department was not publishing that, and so we started publishing that so that the community can know how often do people die in the community when the police come. How often are people being searched, or and what is the racial makeup of searches and stops and frisks and all that look like? So, one of the most important parts of police oversight is access to information. I think the second most important part of it is being a bridge between the community and our police officers who are a part of our community. Neither side should see the other as the enemy. People should not fear the police if you're not doing anything wrong. And the police should not fear their communities that they are a part of and that they serve. So we try to, but sometimes it takes translating between the two groups. And so that's one of the things that we try to do, build those bridges between them.
How's the translation been?
It's interesting. One of our programs that's the best in translating is our community mediation program. And Brother Al, you know a lot about that.
Oh, yes, yes.
That helps for people. It breaks it down so that when you come into these meetings, it's not empowers
you, you know.
So that's right. You come in as a citizen against another, talking to another citizen, not against each other, but just being able to talk to each other as people, not as a cop who has power over you. In this setting, everybody has their own power and their own truth, and they can just talk about what's going on. And Brother Al can attest to, there's a real conversations that go down between the community and the police don't have to be guarded. They can say what's on their mind, and the community can as well. It's a safe space.
Susan, may I pick that up just for a minute and say that, you know, it made a difference. I have a 21-year-old son who's an honor student, never been in trouble, and it took my wife, myself. My wife is an accountant, and she took time off, but circumstance, some situations, and we were not comfortable with PID, and I'm not putting them down, but we wasn't comfortable. We went to the police monitor, and we had some investigations. And but let me just fast forward. We had this mediation with this officer, and he was black, and he totally disrespected my family and my son and my wife and myself. But we had a chance to sit down with him on the same level. And my son said something to him like, I respect that badge you wear, but I don't respect the person behind the badge, because that day where you handled my daddy and my mom and myself, we were victims, and you victimized us a second time. So he sit down, and I think that he's going to be a better police, Ms. Hutson, because we was on the same level. We left our titles, we left everything, and the frustration that we had when we left my family felt vindicated. It wasn't a vendetta. It was just that we were able to address some things that, and I think the police was surprised that we weren't trying to put him down. We just want to let him know, and we had a chance, and it was about more than an hour. It was 2 hours long. It was nobody in a hurry. We said what we had to say. And it's on record, So my saying is, I felt vindicated. Like I said, I felt helpless when I was in the courtroom and the way they handled me. And I'm not, talking about what happened, but I just want the public to know that it works. And I'm a 62-year-old man, and my wife is, she's over 50.
You're not supposed to give her age out.
Yeah, I know she's over 50. My son's an honor student. So, but let me say something too, Susan, while I'm here. There are people, and I've talked to many people who are not, the education, they can't really read well. And maybe let me say this to you. I've said to them that those people will help you with your report. They're not going to do the report for you, but they would help you. They don't, because this is the real, Susan, that we have people that don't have the education, don't have they can't read well or spell well, and they feel intimidated by going and do a report because, in past at the independent police, not the independent police bomb, but the PID, they would give them people some paper and tell them, write what happened. And some people walked out. Does it make sense?
Yeah, and I'm so glad that you mentioned that. One of the things I'm going to be teaching tonight at 9 o'clock, I'm going to be at Bar Redux in, however you pronounce it, because I don't speak French, at 800 Poland Avenue. We're going to be talking about rights and responsibilities.
Yes.
And one of the things we teach in these rights and responsibilities is, where is your power at? It's not at the scene where it's going down and the officer is being an officer. That's not where your power is. It's not there. It's your power to have your voice heard through these processes that we have here, or in other ways, because it can be outside these processes, but it's not in the heat of the moment with those officers. And then just one other point about that, what Brother Al talked about here, this is what hurts police departments the worst. Yes, when officers shoot and kill people, we have unrest in the streets and protests and all, but these incidents where people are disrespected by police, treated as less than first-class citizens, that hurts the police departments the most. We hear it over and over and over
If you
again.
let it slide too, and we let it slide. And we have, and Susan, I have talked to countless people that have had a problem with, found out that's the same officer. I had talked to 20 people, and 5 of them had the same problem with the same officer. And I asked them, why didn't they, and this before they had the independent police monitor, why didn't you report this? I didn't want to go to PID. I didn't feel comfortable, with the policing themselves. And that's what. But I say that now we're saying to the public, you have this agency that's not intimidating. You come somewhere where you won't feel like you're in Fort Knox or you're in prison. And this is my opinion, and I accept that. But you need to not let it go. You need to take some time, and it does take a little time, but it's the best thing you could ever do if you want to make this problem better.
Oh, I so appreciate that. And we are open for business. We are not in Fort Knox anymore. We are at 2714 Canal Street, Suite 201. You can walk up the front stairs and come in the front door. Or if you can't do stairs, you can come up the elevator and come through, knock on the back door, and we'll bring you in. And you are welcome. It is a welcome space. And the thing that you mentioned there is so important, Brother Al. If it's not on record as to what's going on with this officer, there's not going to be any intervention or any change. And so there won't be mediations. Or if this officer has all these other issues going on, there needs to be some remedial action, some further training, some type of supervision over them, just to make sure that we're not having these problems going forward. We don't like to see officers fired. We don't like to see them get to that point. We like to see them to serve the community in the way the community wants to be served. So it's very important that we know what's going on out there.
And I want to say to this, and I'm saying this because it's very dear to me, Susan, because we were angry. I was angry, and you said something that made a lot of sense, and the public need to hear this. And during the incident is now where you let it slide. You don't intervene then, but afterwards, the incident, it need to be reported. And I'm not talking about 2 weeks after that. Right? It's why it's fresh in your mind. Am I right or wrong, my sister?
You're absolutely right. And we can help as well. One of the things we talk about is being able to provide, you be an active part in this investigation. You get the officer's name, you get the badge number, you get the car number, you get a good description. Whatever you can get, you get that and give that to us, and we're going to take it and run with it from there. But you collect as much, be active in your own investigation. Get as much information as you can, location, time, any witnesses, information like that. Be actively involved, and then that helps us to do our jobs as well.
And I said that to the police officers who I've seen, Susan, that have told me, black and white, they'll say, Brother Mims, we appreciate what you said, that police monitor is not anti-police. I tell them that. I'm saying no, but we want to be fair. We want to make sure that instances that should be reported are not pushed on the rug or not forgotten about. Because sometimes people say, I'm gonna let it go, but you should be the one, because nobody's gonna retaliate against you. Trust me, this police officer, I see him all the time. And Susan, it's like night and day, because he got a second chance. He never thought that he would be where he was. We was on the same level, and I want the public to know that we didn't ridicule him. I didn't beat up on him, but I told him what he messed up at. You know what? When after the 2 hours for the mediation, we got up and shook hands, and my son shook his hand, and I think that he's going to be a better officer. And I see him all the time, and he shakes my hand. He's not. I don't see no attitude. But what I'm saying is, if I think that happened for the better, that you come into the police monitor, and if you don't use it, you lose it. Make y'all work. What I'm saying is, there's a lot of officers that need to have this done to make them better, or to get rid of them one way or another.
Amen. And you said something real important there, that we do want officers always to know, and we speak to them as well. We go to roll calls and speak to them and try to show them what we have in place for them as well. But one of our mission statements is to make sure that officer safety and working conditions are improved. True. Our officers are very brave, but they do things that are very risky, and they put their lives in danger for. It's already a tough job, right? Yes. But they put themselves in extra harm's way sometimes, and we try to work on that to make sure that they can be more safe, and that they can be safe in these encounters, and then they don't have to be as aggressive sometimes, which makes us all more safe. But we teach them listening skills. We go to the academy and teach them listening skills. Our mediation coordinator does that. We teach them about how to just interact with the community more. All of my staff lives here in New Orleans as well. We are all New Orleanians. And so if we need the police, we're going to be calling NLPD as well. So we want to see them functioning well and doing what they need to do for the whole community. So we are definitely not anti-cop.
Thank you.
And, everybody knows I'm a big police supporter, but sadly, my support is chastened when it comes to the Public Integrity Bureau. That is why your office exists, because many of us police supporters and police skeptics have a less than stellar opinion of PIB. And that's not a knock against any particular individual or officers working there, but it's just the God's honest truth, because a lot of people have filed complaints with PIB and then have had to go directly to your office.
You're talking about me.
and
Susan,
me.
So Cap and I both was there, and I didn't like the way it felt, and not speaking about any particular individual, but I just didn't like the feel.
Well, I'm just trying to be nice because I'm on the radio with the two of y'all, because I have
opinions. Be nice, Cap.
Okay,
be nice. But Susan, I'm saying this to the public, is that and I served as a civil sheriff myself for 20 years with Paul Valto, and my brother was in the 6th district for 19 years, and I have a brother who's deceased now, was with the levy board. So what I'm just saying is, I endorse it because I think it's the best way. The best way. And, and it's tried and blue. And I'm saying this to people because, I was satisfied. When I walked away, I felt like, it's going to be okay. And we're talking about a year ago, and I'm good.
And just one thing about the Public Integrity Bureau, they are a work in progress, and there are different aspects to it. So one of the things that you both noted here, is that when you're filing a complaint, that side of the Public Integrity Bureau has not gotten a lot of focus and review and correction.
True.
So that's a side that we are trying to focus on this year. And I didn't have the resources to do that until the community came to my aid and just fought for the independence of this office and funding for this office. So we are actually about to hire somebody who's just going to do nothing but handle complaints and monitor those complaints and be able to get some good results here for the community, and then see what's going wrong in that side of the department of the Public Integrity Bureau. But there's another side of that bureau that is doing so well, and that's the Force Investigation Team. First recommendation I ever made when I got here in 2010, you've got to have a force investigation team that does nothing but look at how the police uses force, and the most important types of force, these shootings and killings. It's very important that be investigated correctly. We know the history here, right? Yes. We had Danziger, we had Glover, we had Flat Top, we had all these things going down here, and the department itself was not holding officers accountable. The federal government had to come in from Washington, D.C., no less, and try to hold our officers accountable. And we saw what happened finally with those. The results were less than stellar. So we know that internally they have to do it themselves. And that side of the department is working so well right now. But it's gotten all of the resources and all of the scrutiny and all of the corrections. So we need. Sorry.
Go ahead.
So I'm just saying, just to repeat, we need to do that to that other side of it as well. And so we're working on that for this year. Sorry, brother, I'll go ahead.
No problem. Do they still have, I think it's a pair of FBI agents still embedded to review officer-involved shootings where death occurs, or has that been phased out?
They have, what they tell me is that there's a task force that they work together with. They have an agreement with the FBI for them to be able to utilize resources. I do not know if the FBI is still embedded there or not. I didn't ask that, and I haven't seen them there, but I know that whenever they need resources or help, there's one in particular that has been involved, especially on shooting cases, who's right there, and he's available to roll out to scenes. So I know that that resource is definitely available to them.
And Susan, I want to say too that I'm a Central City resident, and you spoke about some of the flat top and some of the most heinous things that have happened. Some of most heinous crimes are perpetrated in our community from the police have been in the 6th district, and people, the trust factor was starting to erode and deteriorate. And I think because I work closely with many the police officers, Jerusalem, some of them gone on to glory now. But I want you to know that that's the most important thing that they can trust. You can't trust somebody that they feel that's going to misuse you and abuse you and not going to pay the price or not going to be dealt with. So there's a lot of trust factors, because when the public trusts the police, they'll come quickly and tell the police what's going on in the community. The police don't have to do the investigation. I told Police Harrison, Monday?
Superintendent Harrison.
Superintendent Harrison.
Yes.
Yeah, I told him that it's very important that we have trust, because y'all don't have to do no investigation. Everybody knows what a bad guy is, and they'll help you, but they got to trust you. You can't have two bad guys and you got to choose which one you're going to help, Susan. You know what I'm saying?
And good points, because there was Flat Top. There was a bunch of officers who were doing just all kinds of things, and nobody in the police
I know
department
Flat Top.
was saying
I know
anything.
that, and so rightly. What I'm saying is the public knows these officers, and they were terrorists. And a lot of things were happening. You got drug dealers and you got them, and who you choose between, it was them or there, so
which is why we call ourselves hostages that fight back.
That's right.
Sometimes a bad guy wears blue jeans. Sadly, sometimes he wears a blue uniform. But just to add on what Brother Al said, I understand that if I use force to defend myself in Orleans Parish, that I will be subjected to a politically motivated investigation. And I also understand that, and this is just my experience as an advocate, everything is fine with me and NOPD until I catch one of them doing something wrong, and then I file a complaint at PIB, and then I get a nice speech, a song and dance, and nothing happens. And now this is me, a cat who does support police. Now for the average brother, the minute he doesn't get any response, not only does he disengage from the system, but he becomes hostile, which is why you have, regrettably, a large number of Black people to this day who are applauding what the shooter did in Baton Rouge and what the shooter did in Dallas, because when you ask them, you start getting years worth of these stories that cause them to not only disengage, but to become hostile. I already understand the forces at work at NOPD, and I'm not going to run around shooting them or applauding people who do, but I do know that, can I count on them? If I have to use deadly force to defend myself, no, because I already know I'm going to get railroaded.
Yeah, lack of respect for our criminal justice system as a whole is going down right now, because it's an unfair system. Like you said, police they kind of ignore what the community asks them to do. It's all about them and
what the Black community
want to do.
Yeah, regrettably, what the Black community, because Sidney Torres now, they treated him like he was Jesus Christ.
Well, and Susan, I want to say that to you, and I want the public to hear this. The Black community really pretty much has been treated unfairly. And I'm speaking, it all depends on what zip code you in. I've seen police officers come out, and let me tell you, I'm a police advocate. You know, I support the police. They can come to my house and use the bathroom. We can get some water. There's open door policy. I want them to come. But there's some officers that, you know, I've seen. Some look like me, some look like the other guys. They ain't worth 2 cents. And you know, but a lot of us have to take the responsibility because we didn't want to get into. I don't want no trouble. The trouble is when you don't do nothing. When you keep letting this and people get hurt or people get disrespected and things are not happening the way it should because we say we don't want to do this. And that's all I'm saying is that you don't have to be a Superman. You don't have to be a celebrity. You don't have
to be Super Mims.
You don't have to be. Look, I'm a Super Mim. What bothered me, Susan, was that I was a former law enforcement officer, a parole board member, and we did everything right, and we were victimized by this police officer in the courtroom. So my point is, it can happen to anybody. I don't see with dark glasses. I take the glasses off. So I'm telling people, don't give up. Don't lose your faith. You know, keep that light shining. Report it. There's no reason why we should not go to report these officers, because if we don't report them, we're gonna suffer in silence.
Amen. And you brought up a great point there. And you live in Central City. Back when I first got here, there was a group of officers on this task force who were running around just doing anything they wanted to people. Planting alleged allegations that they were planting drugs, beating people up, stealing money, violating constitutional rights, searching homes without a warrant.
Jump out boys.
I'm sorry?
The jump out boys.
The jump out boys. And they had the community had given them gang nicknames and all.
Oh, yeah.
So you knew this was not good.
Yes.
We started concentrating on them, but because people would actually file complaints, we could now do something.
Right.
We started concentrating on those officers. Eventually, one of them ended up getting fired. And I'm not going to tell you it happened overnight, because it doesn't happen overnight.
It's a marathon sometimes, Susan.
It's a marathon.
And I'm telling people that because I want to encourage my people, because this is a new day. You know, first of all, give the independent police monitor, give them a chance, an opportunity to give integrity and thing back to some of these investigations. Some of them, Susan, like you said, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. But I'm going to tell you something, y'all going to do it honestly and professionally, and that's all I got to say.
And fairly. We don't want officers who are doing the right thing. Like, hey, if you're a gangster out here and you're dealing drugs and you're roughing up people and threatening people, we want the justice system to deal with you, but constitutionally. And that's how we want the police to handle it. So, two wrongs do not make a right. So we want the police to be right in all their interactions and get the so-called bad guys, but do it in the right way. So,
like my mom.
And that's a community and IPM and police a collaboration.
Two darkness is not going to make the light. The police monitor is the light in the community, and from all the things that I've seen and talked to people, and those who are listening, Susan, they need to know that I want them to know that there's no excuse. You can't give an excuse for not going, because we need to do this, and we're not trying to hurt nobody, but you have rights, and if and they'll listen to you, and if there's something's wrong, they're going to investigate it. So my point is that I don't have a problem going through the process, and I like to be empowered. So my point is, somebody does me something, who would think that 6-7 months down the road from when this guy disrespecting my family, we were victims, and we were victimized by the system a second time. I told him I feel like a rape victim, but when we sit down in that mediation with him, look, it was
Brother Al, I still regret that you wouldn't let me attend.
No, I couldn't let you.
Couldn't let me attend.
No, Susan, I didn't let him. I didn't let, it was my wife, my son, myself, and one of the other ladies that was involved, brother, but sister, and it was, as I said, I'm not doing no cheerleading. I'm just telling them people that God be the truth, that I was satisfied. I was totally satisfied. And I wanted to fight before I switched. I was mad. I was mad as I was just mad. But when I left there, I felt vindicated. My family felt it was all right. So
And you know, you brought up something that's really good here, and I would just want to say before I go on to that point, you know, Cap, you when you just need to push in a push pin, you don't use a hammer. So that's why Brother Al is bringing you when he needs a hammer, right?
And look, as bad as I, you know, let me tell you something. As bad as I think I was, I couldn't protect my family because if I had did what I wanted to do, they would have beat my behind and put me in jail, and we would be having this conversation because. What I'm trying to say is I couldn't react the way I needed to do what I did. And they thought, I really think they thought that it was going to go down because Cap, he really was at PID, huh? He went there.
Yeah.
He was there. He went there. But what I'm saying is they didn't have a police monitor then. But I went there and everything changed. You know what I'm saying? I met the guy at PID and he was there. And I was looking, I was saying, hey, this is going to be the same old thing. But things change. And I want people to know that it changed. I want the officers, the good officers, to know that things change. It's a new day.
And thanks to Brother Al smoothing off my rough edges. You know, we're trying, once again, to engage.
He a skeptic with
the super. No, not a skeptic about the politics behind NOPD. Yes, because it's sad that the state police, even the U.S. Marshal Service, treat me better than the police department in the city where I have decided to live for 8 years. Now, that should be an issue of concern to them because if me and you shut up right now about supporting police, it's not like there's 100 other black voices here that are just going to automatically fill the vacuum. And see, that arrogance, that type of intransigence, if it doesn't stop, because, you know, now we've entered the dimension where things are in my area now. People are running around ambushing and killing people, and there's no amount of spin. There's not a good press conference. There's not a photo op that you can try to throw out there to change the fact that now we've got to a point where it's domestic terrorism and warfare.
And Susan, we have been supporting, and Cap said, the brothers and the badge. If we want to make this city better, the black men in this city have to support the police. I'm not talking about bad police, but police for police work. There's things going on in our community that should be happening, and we know what's going on, and we should be working together to make this thing better. That's all we're saying. You know.
And if you could just hold your response, please. We have to go to some very important breaks.
We got to pay some bills
so we can keep the show going. So everybody, hold on. If you need to kind of take off your body armor for a second,
go to the bathroom.
Go ahead and do all that. We're going to be right back here on New Orleans Talk Network.
The rhythm, the rebel, without a pause, I'm low in my level. The hard drama, where you never been, I'm in. You want styling, you know it's time again. The enemy, telling you to hear it.
What is New Orleans Talk Network? It's today's hottest topics with an added flair. You get ready because the conversation will be hot and better yet, mobile. Download the New Orleans Talk Network app available on Android, iPhone, iPad, and you can listen to us on the web at www.neworleanstalknetwork.com. Write down our talk line at 504-341-TALK. That's 504-341-8255. Interactive and worldwide. That's what we are. Join in on the real conversation and tell a friend about the New Orleans Talk Network.
There are moments in life when we hesitate. Buying a home shouldn't be one. Markets are changing and interest rates are still low. Now is the time to make your move. At Rocksteady Realty, we are determined to find a home for you. We know the area, provide personal attention, and more convenience. For all your residential and commercial needs, contact Willie Jones at Rocksteady Realty at 504-460-3819. Discover the Rocksteady difference.
Wags Food and Culture at 1601 Plaza Drive in Marrero, always delivering the best food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's a reason why people keep returning to Wags. The food's always hot, great portions, and it's just down home good. Call ahead to order in advance at 504-348-3080. That's 504-348-3080. And let Larry know that you heard about Wags on the New Orleans Talk Network. Call him now. Wags Food and Culture at 1601 Plaza Drive in Marrero.
This is Belinda Parker Brown, president of Louisiana United International. I am the host for a forced for justice. You can listen to us every Thursday morning at 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Central, exposing the injustice in our criminal justice system. You can also call in at 504-341-8255 and tell us how you have become a victim in our criminal justice system.
On the New Orleans Talk Network, a force for justice with Belinda Parker Brown.
Back, unpopular demand.
Are y'all ready for this tea? The New Orleans Talk Network has all the behind-the-scenes info, gossip, and happenings in the world of Hollywood. You gotta tune in to Dishing with Christian on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on the NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com.
I got sauce in my bag, swag.
This is Remus Bowman. Join me live Mondays at 12 o'clock on the New Orleans Talk Network. You can also join me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We're all over the place. We're going to open doors for you to have an opportunity to be successful and pay low interest for your automobile, your home, your credit cards, everything that you buy. We're going to put you on a great path to have a successful future. Every Monday at 12 o'clock, Remus Bowman for you and your credit.
This is Tanya Free. We started this week, as we have so many times, talking about violence with the loss of 3 more police officers, this time in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. While we continue to experience violence and chaos here and around the world, the Republican National Convention kicks off in Cleveland, Ohio, an open carry firearm state. The party that stands against gun control now seems to want to suspend the open carry law during the convention. Really? These stories and more this Wednesday on the Tanya Free and Friends Talk Show, 2 p.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. Central.
Join Tanya Free and Friends at TanyaFree.com. On air, online, and on point.
The New Orleans Talk Network, a Church Without Walls foundation. We will be talking next week. Are we all Americans?
I wonder if I'm American.
I know I'm American. I wonder if I'm an American.
But tune in next week and you will know for sure.
Nobody gives you better conversation about your quality of life.
Let everyone know you listen to
The New Orleans Talk Network.
Brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to. Yes, the rhythm, the rebel.
Welcome back, friends and enemies, to Hostages That Fight Back here on New Orleans Talk Network. Thank you for tuning in to the live stream. Thank you for watching us on New Orleans Talk Network on YouTube and live on Facebook. We are very honored to have as our guest Susan Hutson, New Orleans Independent Police Monitor. We've been discussing police oversight and community engagement in a time of political homicide. Susan, are you there?
Yes, indeed. Thank you, gentlemen, for having me here.
Thank you for coming.
You know, I wanted to follow up on something from the first half hour that we were talking about, because that's a theme that's gone on since I've been here, which is oversight is traditionally about looking at misconduct or issues where officers are violating the Constitution, roughing up people. It's usually people who are interacting with the police because they're suspects who complain. Mm-hmm. But one of the things we see here in New Orleans, is both of you gentlemen can attest to, is that victims of crime don't feel supported by the NOPD a lot of times. And they come to us now a lot more to say, hey, help me speak to my police department. I can't get through to my detective. I can't get the help I need as a law-abiding citizen in this community. Will you help us? And we're doing a lot more of that to help the NOPD problem solve for crime victims.
And let me say this, Susan, and I'm trying to put it in perspective. There are law enforcement officers that I know that they know that I support the Independent Police Monitor and what happened to my particular case. and they act different with me now. I mean, that's a good thing, because what I'm saying is, like, I'm gonna say big brother, but you're better than a big brother. They y'all are for the right thing, and they know that people have somewhere to go that's gonna be heard. They're gonna be heard, because, and I always say PID is like kissing your sister. Pardon my expression. They look after themselves. And so it was always questionable. People would always, I've been down there many times. With other complainants, and they didn't feel comfortable. They didn't feel vindicated. They didn't feel that they were respected. They didn't feel that their side of the story was heard. Some of it, I felt the same way too. I felt, and let me say this to you, because if I said it before, pardon me for saying it again. I was someone in the community that people respected, and I don't think that I should be treated any better than anybody else. But they know that I had police background, and my brothers and things. And Susan, what happened to me was, like, wow, Brother Mims don't have no arrest record, and he's a person in the community that speaks out. So what I'm saying is, it happened to me, and I was hurt because I wasn't a so-called, I'm gonna say this, they say I wasn't a thug. That's what, and so it was important that I did do this, so that it would be proven that no matter what, you wear a suit. I was in courtroom. My son and I had a suit, and my wife was dressed to impress, but we were treated like trash, and that's about.
You mean like Negroes?
Like, Susan, cap always got to, put another cap on it. But I just, I'm trying to tell people that it didn't make any difference what I had on or whatever. And this happened in the courtroom. This happened in, the courts. So, and we were looking for just us, and we felt like it was just us. You know what I'm saying? Mm. So what I'm saying is, I'm endorsing this because you don't feel like you nobody cares. I'm telling you, you empower yourself. I'm looking for the right words, because this is dear to me, Susan, because I see people who feel their self-esteem, nobody cares. It's not like that. And I wasn't treated like a second-class citizen. We were not treated like a second-class. The lady who was no part of my family, she was a friend, she didn't look like a second, she didn't feel like it. So my point is, my brothers who out there who wearing blue, y'all know, I tell y'all all the time, I love you, take care of yourself with your family, but we're gonna do the right thing. You got to do the right thing. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, absolutely. There are two things that'll get a rise or a response out of me in my office, and first and foremost is mistreating the community. Any mistreatment of them, whether victim, suspect, whatever, that's going to get a rise out of me. That's going to get the focus, my attention. And the number two thing would then be not providing good service, not providing the right police service, whether that's collecting evidence or talking to witnesses or conducting your business in a way that it needs to be conducted, going above and beyond for the community as a police officer in your work every day. Those two things, you do those two things, you're going to have a problem with me. And so those are where we always focus on with the police department. Treat the community well and do your job. Everybody wants to see you be heroes, police department, so be those heroes that we are holding you up to be.
Yeah. Hey, it sounds good to me. I just kind of reflect on, remember my adventure Memorial Day 2 years ago. I catch two white women breaking into a property I managed. I call NOPD. You know what, bro? I should have called the state police probably, but I called NOPD. They tell me how they can't arrest them, and I'm like, wow. I said, these were two young black men I caught. You would have arrested them right on the spot. So that's after that experience and taking that to PIB and it going into limbo, that pretty much ended any pretense I could have of any confidence in the Public Integrity Bureau. Because now, when you catch people committing crime and the police don't do anything, what's the point?
And they know him, Susan, they know him down at the Public Integrity Bureau because, I went with him also. We support one another. And so, I had some, I just have to tell him sometimes, he got a bad taste in his mouth, but he did get a raw deal. But it's a new day, and as I said to the community, it works, but you got to use it. You got to work it. We got it. The independent police monitor, and there's a lot of people out there that feel misuse, abuse, and as I said to them, you have a chance to make a difference. If you went through some troubles, then if you make a complaint, maybe somebody else don't have to go through this. So that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah, and you just bring up some great points here, which are that our system is not colorblind. It is not class blind. It is completely biased. And that's why I get upset when people get mad about the Black Lives Matter movement. Because what it's saying is we need our justice system, whether from the police to prosecutors to judges and on up.
Yeah.
We need to recognize that Black Lives matter. Right now, they don't matter in the system to a large extent. You talked about that, Cap, a different level of service for you as a Black man versus these white suspects.
The suspects.
If they had been Black suspects, I bet they would have gone to jail. So those are issues, and we need to make sure that Black lives do matter in our criminal justice system. We need to continue to push for that. Of course, all lives do matter, but what we're saying is right now, Black lives don't matter, and we need it to be a part. We really need all lives to matter.
That's right.
In the justice system.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because Brother Mims and I now are kind of a bit to the right of the Black Lives Matter movement in this regard, because our enduring refrain is when all of these Black people are being murdered on a daily basis, when you get together your march in the hood to go to protest whatever the latest officer-involved shooting is, you're walking past burglars, armed robbers, street gangs in your community with a much greater threat to you than X police agency at X time period. We ask, can't the community have a two-front war against police brutality and the more frequent public brutality that we face?
I'm looking at the elephant in the room, Susan. I wrote a story about a month ago. I wrote the story about a month ago. Cap was there, and we did about 4 hours with the Time Picayune. I've been critical of the Time Picayune, but I've had people, and Cap will tell you, about 20 people called me that day, and they were Black, saying, "Brother Mims, why you didn't say nothing about the police?" I said, because it wasn't about the police. It was about the problems I was having with Black on Black crime. My father was murdered. I've been shot. My brother was shot and killed, and my house was shot, drive-by shooting. My son was almost killed 12 years ago. And what I'm trying to say, Susan, I wanted you to know we got some, that I call it usism. We got some problem with us. That I say everything ain't racism. I got some problem with us. And I just wanted them to know that that's why I'm at with that. We need to bring everything together. In my neighborhood last Saturday, there were 5 funerals and 4 more Black on Black murders. And I said to them that Black Lives Matter, not just when police kill us, but when we kill one another, it matters. And my son, who I love, I'm concerned about people who don't like his daddy would try to hurt my son. And it's been happening before, Susan. And you can't, I just want people to know that there's some issues going on in our community that shouldn't be happening.
And my issue is if I use deadly force against some lowlife who doesn't like what I represent. Now, if I do it in Metairie, I'll be all right. If I do it in New Orleans, I will find that the New Orleans Police Department, at the direction of, we'll just say, unnamed forces, since we're trying to be nice today, will try their best to prosecute me for something. It wouldn't matter if the guy had a bazooka in his hand and I had a slingshot. And
that's who,
brother, and I'm going to be very honest with you, Susan, because, try not to hurt people's feelings, but when people threaten Brother Mims' life, several times since I've known him, at least, and I've sent out the public cry about it, no response from the Black community in general. Now, great response from his church. 50 of his church members came out, but a lot of our so-called crusaders, elected officials, appointed officials, et cetera, nothing.
Nobody from City Hall.
But if Brother Mims
Yeah.
was a 3-time felon who got shot wrestling on the ground with a policeman, these Negroes would fill the streets saying what an injustice it is. And that's what burns me up.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
I have to say this. They're two halves of the same coin. You've got on the one hand that Black lives don't matter in our system at all. Our system victimizes the young Black lives and throws those lives away. And that's perpetuated throughout the community. So that these young men that are being killed out in the street by the police are also killing each other because there is no hope. There is no, and I'm on the liberal side of it, so I'm definitely looking at it from this perspective. But there's no respect in these communities either for the police to come in and do the right thing. So instead of coming in and being targeted and getting these gangsters out of the communities, they come in and stop and frisk everybody. And give everybody tickets and give everybody a criminal record instead of being targeted and getting those people who are ruining our communities out of there and doing it constitutionally.
And sister, I agree with you. My point is,
but I want to say one more thing because
Go ahead.
there are the same groups that support us. We support as well, and they also support trying to stop the killing out there. The peacekeepers, folks like you two, these community folks who are working to do those types of things. So, yeah, there's some people sitting on their rear ends doing nothing. But I think in large part, the people who support us also support real policing as well.
Brother Mims? No, I'm not going to say anything else.
No,
Go ahead, Brother
and
Mims.
Susan, as we get to wind down, we just first of all, I want to thank you for giving us your time because I know you're a busy person. If I didn't know well, I thought you was Michelle Obama, girl, because you be so busy with anytime we can get some of your time, you're welcome on this show. Anything you want to present to the public, you're welcome here to come in and talk to us because understanding is the best thing in the world. We need that's what we trying to stay. We want the community. This city is a gumbo, and gumbo is good, but if we don't look out, gumbo gonna sprawl. So does it make sense, Susan?
Yes, it does, and I'm always happy to be here, and I thank you for having me here. You know how much I respect, love, and support you too. So we're on the same page in terms of trying to fight crime and crime within police departments.
And so fair enough. So my brothers and sisters listening, and there are many out there, and there's many who won't call, but we want you to know that you have power. You can if you are not satisfied where what's been going on, you got a voice. You really do. You have to make that first step. You got to make that step.
And before you leave, Susan, tell folks where they can find you online, how they can get in touch with you, how they can file a commendation for a police officer or a complaint.
Yes, absolutely. And I always love to end anything I do on a positive note and talking about commendations. We don't get a whole lot of those, and we'd love to get more. If an officer does something good for you, give us a call, 390-9799, 390-9799. Come on by. We're at 2714 Canal Street, Suite 201, 2714 Canal Street, Suite 201. Email us at policemonitor@nolaipm.gov. And again, policemonitor@nolaipm.gov. And we're New Orleans Police Monitor on Facebook and Twitter. So you can even send us your commendations or complaints through that media. So however you want to reach us, that's what we want to do for you.
What about a phone number?
309-9799.
Okay, Cap, anything else that you have to talk to Sister Hutson?
Well, no, I think we've taken enough of your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We're hostages that fight back.
And as usual, folks, treat each other well, or at least pretend that you can.
I'm low in my level. The hard drama where you never been. I'm in. You want styling. You know it's time again. Be the enemy. Telling you to hear it.
The New Orleans Talk Network, now on